During the final excavations on Oak Island, a frightening discovery was made. Once again, a remarkable discovery has been made, and this time it provides conclusive evidence that the Oak Island conceals wealth. During their concluding excavation of the C1 cluster on Oak Island, the Oak Island made an unsettling discovery. The team has been keeping a close watch on the progress in the hopes that any significant developments will bring them closer to the treasure chamber or offset vault they have been searching for so long. B4 sea shaft is nearly at its utmost depth of approximately 90 feet. This location is located just 5 feet to the north of Borehole C. They discovered what may be the remains of 15th century wooden structures. Significant traces of silver and gold were also discovered, leading to speculation about the original location of the money pit and the possibility of a conduit leading to a treasure chamber. Well, this frightening discovery at Oak Island during the final excavation appears to be more exciting than previously believed. How did humans in the 15th century use wood to construct such complex tunnel networks? I do not understand the purpose of this. The discovery of a tunnel at a depth of 90 feet is viewed as a significant indicator that they are closing in on the original location of the money pit. Each excavation increases the likelihood that precious objects will be discovered in the subsequent grab or scoop. Since the gold was discovered in the water, they believe it may have been transported to the money pit. The group unearths a few random timber planks, but the most significant discovery is a massive iron fastener. The craftsmanship's primordial nature suggests that it is at least a century old. The fact that it occurred prior to the discovery of the money grave leads them to the conclusion that there may be artifacts from that time period somewhere. One of the items is a hand-forged spike, which immediately becomes the subject of fascination. Given the significance of each prospective lead, the organization intends to investigate the influx. It appears crude, but it contains hand-forged raw iron and shows signs of age, making it a significant artifact that may cast light on Oak Island's history. At a depth of about 130 feet in the B4C shaft, the crew encounters difficulty after hitting granite. Due to time constraints, further excavation in the money pit area cannot occur this year, but information gathered from the 5 massive steel tunnels dug in the preceding months lends credence to the theory that the treasure sought after for more than 2 centuries is still buried somewhere beneath Oak Island. The team is aware of the difficulty posed by the funding gap, as well as the significance of technological innovation and the effective application of existing technologies in order to continue their investigation. We may soon learn more about the spike's history and significance thanks to Carmen's knowledge and careful examination of it. The iron spike discovered in B4C shaft led Carmen Legg to conclude that it belonged to a Middle Ages rock drill. The crew had discovered a few swages 2 years prior, and he concluded that they may have been used to sharpen rock drills. He connected the two by asserting that the swages were found in the same location. It is believed that the rock drill, which is utilized for both drilling rocks and splitting apart enormous boulders, has been in use for quite some time. The rock tool resembles those employed in medieval times. Its very presence inspires a multitude of intriguing theories regarding the money pit's history and the wealth it conceals. The group questions if this artifact provides additional evidence that they are approaching the legendary treasure. The rock auger is historically significant because it was likely utilized in the initial construction of the money pit. The prospect of discovering a concealed chamber or room enhances the appeal of further exploration. As they reflect on the new discoveries the crew has made throughout Oak Island, such as the stone-paved section in the marsh along the ancient stone road, they ponder who may be responsible for the Oak Island enigma. Are they possibly getting closer to determining who is behind this mystery? And specifically, what is hidden within the money pit? Even as they continue their quest for answers, the Lagena brothers are grateful for the unwavering support and rapt attention of their dedicated staff and audience. Given that scientific evidence indicates the presence of vast quantities of gold and silver beneath the surface, they have good cause to continue. Researchers discover a key clue to the enigma of the money pit. It appears that the study team has at last discovered a clue to the treasure hidden in the money pit, after spending many long and exhausting hours looking. On Lot 13, which is situated just northeast of the marsh, Rick Lagina, Tom Nolan, another landowner on Oak Island, and the other team members are getting ready to start another excavation. They are searching for significant proof. Although clay was found, it was rather obvious that it wasn't supposed to be there in the first place. They speculated that it might be a blue clay of some sort. When exploring an unusual rock formation known as the quadrilateral, Lagena and the rest of the team recently discovered what may prove to be a crucial clue to the money pit mystery. At a depth of 40 feet, researchers started the first serious excavation of the ancient money pit in the year 1804. They found a layer of blue clay there at that depth, acting as a sealant to keep water out of the hole. Curiously, the researchers found the same substance in 2018 while looking at a ring-shaped stone monument called the Eye of the Swamp. Is it conceivable that the crew has now found proof that the quadrilateral was made by the same people who altered the swamp and built the money pit? If that's the case, it's a really intriguing development. If that makes sense, it somewhat reminded them of what they had seen in the money pit. Blue clay plays a significant role in the tale of the money pit's discovery in history. If you were attempting to keep water out of some sort of underground structure, would you be able to make use of that? It's possible that Lagena's theory, according to which the presence of blue clay points to the potential existence of a structure buried below, is true. If so, what kind of structure could it be? And could anything of outstanding value be inside? The following morning, Lagena and other crew members returned to Lot 13 so that geoscientist Dr. Ian Spooner could look into the enigmatic quadrilateral feature that was providing a crucial clue to the money pit riddle. They felt that it was somewhat improbable that it could have spontaneously accumulated there. Additionally, they saw clay in a variety of colors combined with pieces of burned wood. These two items in no way, shape, or form go together. One of the group members remarked that the clay appeared to be split up and misplaced. There was an event that had a meaningful purpose and took place. There truly must be a reason for everything that happened since the story is so complicated. There was one little spot that had gotten a little worse. There were striations all over the metal, marking it. The thinness of the points gave the impression that they were made to be pushed into wood. Are you looking for a hand-forged iron staple or fastener? Since the 6th century BC, large metal staples have been employed often in the construction of both stone and wooden structures. Could this manually formed metal fastener be another proof that a structure of some kind is waiting to be revealed at the quadrilateral location? What kind of structure might it be in that situation, presuming the group has previously discovered blue clay, given that information? Anything that took place prior to the money pit's initial discovery has the potential to be considered original work. You will see that this so-called mainstay is actually rather puzzling when compared to the hard work that went into creating the Great Quadrilateral. Their search for the elusive treasure, as they continue to make new openings and discoveries that provide them with valuable new information. The crew remains optimistic regarding their overall progress. The discovery of the artisanal spike adds to their growing body of knowledge in this discipline, which was used to calculate the precise elevations of the tunnel. The group's intention to conduct additional research, including C14 testing, demonstrates its significance. Marty Lagina, Craig Tester, Gary Drayton, and blacksmithing expert Carmen Legg returned to the Institute to discuss the iron spike they discovered at a depth of over 100 feet in the B4C shaft. The enigma of Oak Island has evolved into a captivating tale, a perplexing puzzle whose mystique has only grown as time has passed. Their words, which emphasize their conviction that gold can be located on oak, exude confidence. During the height of piracy in the late 17th and early 18th centuries, it was widely believed that Oak Island served as a secure haven for pirates operating along the entire east coast of North America and in the Caribbean. This notion has existed since the beginning of island exploration. They pondered whether this was the location where a pirate commander had hidden his loot. As they proceeded deeper into the tunnel, however, water began to fill it. This was owing to the peculiar location of the island they were working on, which was above a glacial mound. Despite the fact that no treasure was ever discovered on Oak Island, the legend surrounding the purported location of the loot has been so captivating for the past 225 years that visitors have been making the voyage there. Over time, others began searching for wealth all over the island, not just in the money pit dug by McGinnis and his companions. However, What is the treasure casket intended to contain? As a young man, Franklin Delano Roosevelt, who would later become the 32nd President of the United States, became intrigued by the topic after his father, who had business interests in Nova Scotia, provided details about the rumored wealth. This was the result of FDR's father's involvement in the province. The onset of the Second World War in Europe prevented him from traveling to Oak Island in 1939, despite his efforts to keep apprised of the most recent information about the island throughout the remainder of his life. In a similar vein, two prominent actors from the middle of the 20th century, Errol Flynn and John Wayne, funded expeditions to search for the Oak Island treasure. Despite their lack of success, they continue to unearth evidence that fascinates and confounds people in equal measure. Be sure to subscribe and enable post notifications for more timely updates on fascinating new discoveries. Numerous individuals have a variety of plausible and implausible hypotheses regarding the contents of the Oak Island treasure. The most prevalent and plausible explanation is that it is the plundered fortune of a notorious pirate who operated between 1660 and 1730, which is generally accepted to have been the golden age of piracy. Famous pirates and buccaneers frequented the rivers along the east coast of North America, from Canada to the Caribbean during this time period. Edward Teach, also known as the infamous pirate Blackbeard, was one of these individuals. Due to the high level of piracy that existed during this time, the governments of Spain, England, France, and other countries with a financial stake in the security of their commerce in this region were unable to prevent pirate attacks on colonial ships returning to Europe. Beginning with the Treaty of Utrecht, which ended the War of the Spanish Succession in 1713 and was signed by the main European powers, coordinated attacks on pirate ships put an end to the golden age of piracy in the Western Atlantic. The Treaty of Utrecht terminated the War of the Spanish Succession officially. The history of the Money Pit on Oak Island is shrouded in mystique. According to geology, the Money Pit was not an underground vault constructed by humans to hold wealth. The bedrock of the island is readily eroded due to its proximity to the ocean and groundwater. Sinkholes can result from the collapse of a network of faults and underground caverns beneath the surface. Despite this, the island's allure has attracted treasure hunters. The stories have provoked and fueled speculation regarding the crater's origins. In space, researchers have discovered a new force. Click the following video to learn what it is. Lateral. What, if any, secrets surrounding Oak Island keep getting more complicated as the show follows the journey of full-time treasure hunters through each new season. However, you might get the same results with your own gear. Their discoveries with metal detectors open up hitherto unfathomable vistas for historical inquiry. Always make sure to get permission before hunting anywhere, whether it's on someone else's land or a public space. The team of The Curse of Oak Island found some scientific proof that suggests it's possible the Money Pit holds a sizable amount of silver. They also found a patch of cement that had traces of gold and other metals, which made them think that the most rare metal in the world, osmium, would be buried somewhere in the ethereal depths of Oak Island. There is an island called Oak Island in the Canadian province of Nova Scotia. The two brothers Marty and Rick Lagina have, for all intents and purposes, dedicated their entire lives to solving Oak Island's enigma and learning its closely guarded secrets, while harboring the hope of unearthing hidden gold on the island. Despite the fact that they had previously spent many years trying very hard to uncover the island's secrets, but making very little headway in their attempts, it appears that their most recent treasure hunting expedition has really taken a fruitful turn. On Oak Island, the Lagina brothers have made a number of important discoveries recently. Some claim that these discoveries have made it possible to access the hidden wealth on Oak Island. This archaeological gem was found thanks to the use of ground-penetrating radar. It was initially thought to be a crossbow bolt, but a specialist in ancient antiquities thinks it might have been a javelin, a type of weapon used by the Romans more than 2,000 years ago. The team finds a metal money pit took place in 1803 under the leadership of a group of investors known as the Onslow Company. They were given their own money pit. The excavations had to be terminated because the party's attempts to descend to the pit's floor were unsuccessful. The following century saw a variety of groups try to solve the island's riddles, But due to the enormous difficulties they encountered, none of them were successful. The hole was flooded, which was the most significant of these, and made additional excavation unsafe and difficult. The importance of this aspect was the greatest of all. Additionally, the pit was wired with a number of devices that, when activated, would cause the pit to fill with water and keep anybody from discovering the treasure. Despite these barriers, the excavations persisted, and the Oak Island Treasure Company was founded in 1861. The flooding that was taking place in the pit prevented this specific squad's attempts from progressing past a depth of 90 feet. As a result of the bankruptcy of the Oak Island Treasure Company in 1909, the excavations were abruptly ended at that time. Since then, a number of additional teams have tried to locate the riches that is hidden on Oak Island, but the enigma of the money pit has remained a secret. The discovery of the money pit and the initial excavations on the island both had a significant impact on the evolution of the island's history, as well as the ongoing search for treasure there. Even with the challenges and roadblocks that were encountered, this is true. Despite the various challenges and disappointments that have been encountered over the centuries-long search for riches on Oak Island, the mystery surrounding the island's location continues to fascinate people. The quest to unravel the mystery surrounding the island has recently been taken on by a number of new entities. In 2010, the Oak Island Tourism Society was founded as a group dedicated to preserving the island's history and encouraging tourism. The most notable change to have taken place in recent years is this one. The Oak Island Archaeological Society has played an important role in raising public knowledge of Oak Island and the treasure hunt, in addition to participating actively in several archaeological digs on the island. Get on the mailing list right away to learn about fresh information and surprising findings about Oak Island. The Lagena brothers will probably receive the lion's share of the treasure, it appears. First of all, the Lagena brothers' ongoing search of Oak Island is authorized by the Treasure Trove license. Licensed treasure hunters are allowed to legally keep 90% of any wealth they uncover, according to a government rule. Marty goes on to suggest that it is very likely that multiple claimants would surface and argue that they had a right to the treasure's contents if a sizable treasure were found on Oak Island. These claimants may rely on some element of their residence, their ancestry, or another factor to support their claims. There will undoubtedly be a lot of people trying to get their hands on at least some of the fabled riches, but it is impossible to say who, if anyone, will be successful. The Lagena brothers and the government would both have legitimate rights over at least some share of the treasure, making them the obvious choice for at least two recipients. However, it is impossible to predict if a situation like this would ever happen in The Curse of Oak Island. Team of researchers are shocked by my shocking revelation. For additional information, watch the video after this one. Object that appears to be what they have been looking for since the first episode of the show in the second episode of the 9th season. Additional inspection reveals that the piece only contains a modest amount of gold in its entirety. The secrets surrounding Oak Island keep getting more complicated as the show follows the journey of full-time treasure hunters through each new season. However, you might get the same results with your own gear. Their discoveries with metal detectors open up hitherto unfathomable vistas for historical inquiry. Always make sure to get permission before hunting anywhere, whether it's on someone else's land or a public space. As the team continued their journey through Portugal, they turned their attention to the country and the Templar Knights, while looking for old structures and researching relics that might be connected to Oak Island. Together with Oak Island theorist Corjan Mall and a few local historians, Rick and Alex Lagina, Doug Crowell, and Peter Fornetti visited a number of ancient sites in Portugal. They were led to 3 distinct locations, each of which displayed mounting proof that Oak Island's history is connected in some way to that of Portugal and the Templars. In Tomar, Portugal, there is a church and Templar fortress called Convento de Cristo. It was built in the 12th century. To start their investigation, the group was brought there. Corjan was particularly intrigued by the aqueduct's drainage system, which he thought had served as inspiration for whoever created the Smith's Cove finger drains. The aqueduct drainage system was what captivated Corjan the most out of all the amazing elements that were packed into this massive structure. This link might have seemed a little tenuous, but Corjan had more details. The original church gate, now faded, bore an engraving of a cross surrounded by 4 dots. The sign found on the H.O. stone on Oak Island had an engraving that matched this one exactly. The H.O. stone was a fragment of a rock discovered on Oak Island. The boulder is thought to have formerly indicated the location of a treasure, but an accident in 1921 reportedly destroyed it. The lads also discovered another O-shaped sign with a dot in the middle, which is also depicted on the H.O. stone during the previous week. The group then traveled to a military history museum in Lisbon. They had replicas of the 2 little cannonballs that had been found on Oak Island, and they intended to use the museum's armory to see if they could match the cannonballs to one of the cannons there. The fact that 2 museum employees immediately confirmed that the 2 cannonballs were of Portuguese origin wasn't a surprise to the boys, because they had already heard from a chemist in a previous episode that the cannonball's composition indicated a Portuguese origin. Alex loaded the cannon with the ball once the guys had discovered the right kind of cannon in order to make sure they had the right kind of weapon. The cannon, which was first used in the 14th or 15th century, was often mounted on a ship's deck. The experts at the museum, however, claimed that the gun could be easily taken out of the ship and brought to an island. Have you already subscribed? Do this right away to learn more exciting updates on fresh discoveries made on Oak Island. Given the ongoing instability on the global stage that has existed ever since the New World was discovered, it should not be shocking that the mysterious Oak Island has come to represent a secret trove of royal treasures. Over time, Oak Island has come to represent a secret hoard of royal treasures. 2 of the most convincing responses in this area come from the French and British militaries, both of which are supportive. The British's hostile acts against the French garrison at Fort Louisbourg are the defining element in this interpretation. It's thought that at some point during either of the French and Indian War or the 7 Years' War, the French treasure that had been housed in the bastion during those wars was transferred to the sophisticated vault on Oak Island. 2 very different viewpoints can be taken while examining this line of thinking. Some believe that at some time during the 6-week siege in 1758, the French were able to smuggle all of their treasures past the British boats that were invading and deposit them in the fittingly named Money Pit, which was located within Fort Louisbourg. Some individuals think that the British attack on Fort Louisbourg in 1758, which was successful, served as the catalyst for the ultimate building of the Money Pit, which served as a storage facility. This story holds that the British Army was given the order to painstakingly dismantle the devastated French bastion, pillage its treasures, and bury them beneath an island